Okay, so this will be session 6 of our linguistics club. So a quick review of the Linguistics Olympiad. So NACLO is the North American Computational Linguistics Open Competition. And it is the competition that determines which students get to participate in IOL, which is the International Linguistics Olympiad. So to prepare for NACLO, you can take a foreign language class, which is a great way to start off. You can also look at linguistics textbooks. You can check the 2022 NACLO handbook, which is there. I can send a link later. And here are some practice problems that you can do. And you can also watch Zara's Olympiad workshop, which I can send in the chat later also. Okay, so important dates. So the registration for the NACLO this year, it's September 26, 2021, which means that you can register still. And NACLO will be on January 27th and March 17th. So our first problem is running on MT. So MT is machine translations, and you can just read this summary, I guess. Okay, so basically what this problem is that here is like the paragraphs and certain words are translated wrong. So for example, Annie Jones sat angry-legged, and it shouldn't be angry-legged, it should be cross-legged, and the machine made that mistake. So basically what you want to do is you want to find the 20 mistakes that are here. Some of them are repeated and you would write them twice. And I'll give you guys around 10 minutes to find all of these. And then once you're done, I'm going to just show the answers. And I want to put you guys in breakout rooms so you guys can discuss it. Well, let me send the link to the problem. Okay, so that's the link to the problem. So you can take a look at it there. So I'll put you guys in breakout rooms now and you guys can discuss it. And then I'll bring everyone back later. Okay, so I think everyone's back now. So here are the answers to the last question. I don't think that question should have taken a lot of time because you just need to find all the words. So here are the answers if you want to check. If you have any questions, you can ask them. And I'll give you guys a few moments to check it. Okay, if everyone's good, I want to move on to the second question. So this question is a bit harder. So in this language, you have 8 sentences, and there's 8 English sentences that are translations of these sentences in random orders. And basically, you just want to match the correct translation to the sentence. So that's the first part. And then the second part is just that you want to see which of these three, if these 3 sentences, if they're correct, or if there's a mistake in those sentences. So I'll put you guys back into those breakout rooms. I'll send the link again so you guys can have it. And then I'll bring everyone back in like around 20 minutes because this question is a bit harder. And then I'll explain. Okay, I put the link to the question in the chat. And then I'll put you guys in breakout rooms and I'll bring you guys back in, I think, 15-ish minutes to explain it. Okay, so I'm gonna go over this question right now. So basically how you can start this off is you notice that there's three words that have not in them, so and three of them have pi here. So we can assume that that means not. So we can take the longest sentence, which is D. We can match it up with 5. So 5 would be D. So then we see that actually sentence D is very similar to sentences G and H. And sentence 5 is similar to 3 and 1. So we can assume that those are the translations. So we have to see which one's the translation. So the difference of G and H is that H is as cast as plural, while G is singular. So in sentence D, cowboys is plural. And we see that the difference is that there's an extra P here, which means that this probably means cowboy, which means you probably have to add an extra letter in front of something to make it plural. So that means this would be H. So one would be H, and then that means 3 would be G. So then we can also observe that 7 and 8 have 7 and 8 have, I know, number 6 and number 8 both have I am in them here. And then we see that so we see that either 6 is a 6 and 8, they're either A or C. So we can also assume that that means I am or first person singular. So then that means they all have tense, they're all first person, second person, or third person. So we can actually see that here and here have the same verb. So we have the man is speaking and the man is not speaking. So here, this and this are similar, but this one has to be plural because there's a extra letter there. So 4 would be F, and then 7 would then have to be B. So if we see that this means that means speaking, then that means that A has to be A, and then C would be 6. So then we have left that number 2 is E. So basically just look through some patterns. And then the next one, find the sentences that are wrong. So we can actually see that the first sentence is very similar to this sentence over here, except for that the difference is here, this word is singular, and here it's plural. And since this is plural, then this also has to be plural, which means it's a mistake because it's very similar from that other sentence. So we can see that there has to be some mistake in it. So before we figured out that this meant I, but then this is plural because there's an extra letter here. So this would also be a mistake. And then if we go back, we'll see that this means we from sentence 2. So this is we, and it's also plural, which means this one would be right. Okay, does anyone have any questions? So here are the answers again, just checking them. And then these are the answers for the part 2. Okay, so now we have our last problem, which is using the New York point system, which is for American Blind Education. So it's similar to Braille, but there are some differences. So you can read all of this in the link I'll send you later. So the first thing is you want to, the following words in your point represent in no particular order these names. So you have to figure out which name is which. And then the second part, you want to write these names into New York point. So I'll give you guys about, I think this question's a bit longer. So maybe like until 6:20, and then I'll bring everyone back and I can explain it again. Let me get the link to the problem. So that's the link to the problem. I'll send it again in the breakout room in case you don't have it. Okay, so I want to explain this question. I won't go over it like specifically because I think most of you guys will get like the general idea. But I'll just go over a little bit and then you guys could figure the rest of it on your own. So first we see that A is the most common letter out of all the names. And here we'll see that these two dots are the most common symbol, which means the two dots represent the letter A. This is much easier to do on paper because you get to label everything, which is sort of hard to do on the computer. So I'll just kind of start off explaining it and then you guys can figure out the rest on your own. So we see that this B here has 5 letters and it ends with A, which means that this has to be Elena. So this would be E. So basically from this, you get that this is capital E, lowercase Lena. So basically we just use those words and fill out the rest of them because this is N, this would be I. And basically the point is you just look through all of these and then you can be able to find which letters fit which examples. So here are the final answers. One thing to note is that the letters TH and SH are actually one letter. So here, that means TH, so that's like that. And then SH would be this. So SH would be this. Okay, so does that make sense? Alright, so basically all you have to do for this question is you just find which letters match up and you can just find what these names are. So the next part is a bit trickier. Some of it is easy, some of it is harder. So most of these questions, you can just see the letters you got from before and fill them in. So for example, Billy here, we already have all 4 letters that we need here. So and then so not all of these are like as straightforward as these. Most of them are. So Ethan, we go back. We just see that we'll have the capital E, TH, then A and N we both have. Iggy is a bit harder. We have capital I and lowercase I and E, but we don't have lowercase g. So we have to find out how to convert lowercase to uppercase. So we see here that this over here, this is capital G. So we can actually observe a pattern in this. So for example, over here, this is capital B and this is lowercase b. So how you convert a capital letter to a lowercase letter? So if there's dots on the top, then you have to add one more dot to you have to add as many dots to fill up the 4 rows as you can. So you would just add one more dot in the 4th row. And then Let me find another example. So A here. So that is A, and then this is capital A. So what you do is you just add the 2 on the bottom to fill up the row. And then basically, if there's if it starts on the top, like for example, if it ends on the bottom, how you would convert it to a capital letter, you would add one to the top. And then if there's if there's has a dot on both rows, you add the extra dots to the upper row. So basically from G, we see that G is here, right? Yeah. So we see that we're going to remove actually this 1 dot here to get lowercase g. So that would be lowercase g, and you could be able to do numbers C. So orson is actually a bit complicated, so I'll go back to that later. Sasha is pretty much the same thing. You get capital S from lowercase s, and then you have the rest of these letters, which we already have. So Orson and Tim are the hardest ones. So these O, uppercase O and lowercase o aren't actually here. So this one, what you actually have to do is you have to go back to here. So it says that Helen Keller says that she mistakes capital Y for double O's in signatures. So we know that Y is this. So capital Y, you would just add a dot to the top. So Y would be, so that is capital Y. And then 2 O's, lowercase o's, would actually be this and this. Pretty much the same thing, but there's 2 of these. So that means 1 O would be this, which means we can see that this would be O. So then to get capital O, we just add 2 more dots to the bottom. And then Tim, you also need to go back because it isn't given in this chart. So we would actually need to use this chart up here. So how we do this is we can find how many dots are in the letter T. So we can use this chart. So we have uppercase P, which we don't know, but we can figure that out later, and A. A is 2, so then we add the number of letters in T. So then we know that P has at least 4 dots because it has to fill up each row. So P plus 4, and it has to be equal to 7. 4 is the minimum, but we actually see that it has to be 4 because T equals 1 and T is the and T has to have a dot. So that means T equals 1. And since E has a dot on the top, that means T will have a dot on the bottom. And to make it uppercase, just add the 3 dots up here. Okay, and then we have I. And then lastly, M, you would do the same thing. You would go back here and you would use Kimberly here to find out how many symbols M has, which is actually 3. And we see that the only symbol for 3 with 3 dots left is this. So we see that we can just fill in the rest. So that was just a quick explanation. So that's it for today. Thanks for coming, everyone. Bye.